So Xenothreat has been met with a bunch of mixed reviews, mostly negative right now, and that's simply because the servers can't keep up with what's going on. I've had a great time on Xenothreat so far, but I've completed about 10 of them so far, and I wouldn't really call them dynamic events. They're more like events that start dynamically. They don't really start on time, they just kind of start when one's available. 3.18.2 brought Xenothreat. Obviously, it's been an ongoing event, and it's going to be going until May 2nd, I believe. There have been some critical flaws with Xenothreat this time around. From wreckage sites not spawning, to stages not completing, cargo disappearing, and even enemy waves not showing up. I'm actually showing some game footage from us when we were doing Xenothreat. This is me in the 600, and we're doing some PvP and PvE during this. The first couple that we did were really stable, but that was the first day that it came out. Since then, I think server integrity has decreased a little bit, and you'll notice that even actions have massive delays in between when they begin and when they end. It took me over 5 minutes to quantum jump out at one point, and you can probably tell that if you're a light fighter and some guy is shooting at you, that 5 minutes is 5 minutes too long to get out of that situation. And even during our PvP skirmish with this guy, we encountered that problem where decoys won't work because the server can't keep up. And when we go to quantum out, it takes us so long that he has time to drop our back shield and for it to recharge and for it to drop again. Some people are calling for Xenothreat to be retired entirely. I definitely don't agree with that. The first couple times we did Xenothreat was probably the most fun I had on Star Citizen. When you have, I think it was 102 people in the server, and everyone was working together to get it done, and we completed a Xenothreat beginning to end in about 40 minutes. Unfortunately, I don't have any recordings from that, but it worked really smooth. There were no action delays or anything, and you could call your ship in, and the ASOP terminals were working just fine. CIG is not communicating on this, and I'm not sure why. I believe this to be a stress test, if I had to guess. They're not looking to break the servers like they were in 3.18.1 in the test universe. They are looking to keep them intact through as much rigorous stress as they can put them through. And honestly, I've only experienced 230Ks. And like I said, we've completed 10 Xenothreats. So we've done this quite a bit. You know, obviously we've done more Xenothreats than that, because your completion rate, even now, is 50%. It's pretty low, just because the server, especially when it just came out, the server would stop spawning wrecks. And if you're not familiar with Xenothreat, I'll give you a walkthrough. Basically, the Javelin, which I'll have on screen now, lands to fight, but it needs to resupply first. So you're tasked with grabbing cargo out of destroyed ships and delivering it back to the station where you sell it at a terminal. They don't mention that part, but you're supposed to land on Jericho, walk inside, sell it at a terminal. What happens when you complete that is the Javelin comes online, it joins you in the fight against the Idris right there at Jericho, and that's when you take down the waves of Idris. Maybe I didn't say that like it's really fun, but I just said waves of Idris, and you have a server working together. When it works, it's the most fun you can have. It's big ship battles, it's everything we wanted in Star Citizen. It's just raw fun. The problem is the server is having a very hard time keeping up with this. So what can we do about it at this point? This is one of the times that if CIG told us what was going on, I think people would be a little bit more accepting to, obviously, the servers not performing very well. And they really haven't performed very well since, 3.17. Most players are looking to the live servers as the stable version of the current game. I don't necessarily agree with that. I do a little bit of game design myself, and I have to say that a live version of the current product is just as much a test version as the PTU. Now, I know that when you buy your game package, you're essentially buying rights to play what's available. What's available right now is not stable, though. And hopefully with the data that they're getting out of this, it becomes more stable in time. But this seems to be another one of those patch it and forget it moments that we see from CIG every once in a while. And not to criticize them too much, because every once in a while they do just move on and it does get fixed. You have to remember that they're working with 10 years of legacy code here. I had a gunner and he had 8 guns on us instead. You killed me!
Ooh, you pushed me out the wall! Where am I?
You killed me! I'm going to show on screen another bit of very odd desync we had with an MSR. It was so bad that my buddy did not see the same thing that I did, which was mine was above the station, his was on the flight pad. But you'll see that when we make contact, we were both wrong in what we were seeing. If you're gonna do Xenothreat, I recommend a few different craft. The 600i that we've been flying in, it's my bird. I love flying it. We use it kind of in a sniper role against hammerheads and Idris when there aren't retaliators flying around. It works very well for that cause. I would say the constellations work very well as well, especially if you get them crewed. Having the extra guns that can kind of reach all around you are very good. Of course, Retaliator is right now, I think, king of this event, because you can take down an Idris with your Bombay. Redeemers out there putting in work. Thanks for that, guys. You have saved my hide more than once. Corsairs. Corsair pilots. I see you struggling out there quite a bit, actually. Especially in PvP. You take too many rockets, or you get a wing shot off, and it seems to be over for you at that point. I used to be a Corsair owner. I melted mine for the 600i. I think it suffers from the exact same problem as the Cuddy Black, which is the moment one of your engines takes a little bit of damage, you're basically out of the fight. And that's really unfortunate. The other problems is those turrets on the side. They're bad. I don't mean to beat around the bush on this one. I hate them. And my crew hated them too, because they're not participating in the fight. The back turret on my 600 gets way more use than the side turrets on the thing ever did. And then the top turret of the Corsair is just, what, 2 size 2s? It's not cutting it, man. The Corsair is so close to being a perfect ship. But in my opinion, it's falling out of the ranks for me. Top tier pilot DPS, that's great and all. Your crew they don't have a lot to do. I really wish CIG would up crew gameplay for these ships to incentivize people doing it. And I made the case once for the Constellation having, better guns or something for its turrets, and everyone's like, oh, they got tuck and stuff like this. Listen, there is a realism factor of the game, and there's also the rule of cool. Please make crewing cool. I don't know. It's something I've been wanting for a while. I know definitely every time someone flies with me, they end up, on Twitter or something, because there's just not a lot to do for a crew right now. So Corsairs, man, I really want to love the ship, and I know you do too, but stay safe out there. Thanks for hauling cargo the way you do. It is what it is, though. MSR, thank you for running the quant cargo. You are champions. I try to protect you guys every time I can when I see you guys out there. I know you guys got those stealth size 2 shields, so you're hidden if I kind of come up just right over the top of you and I hide you with my signature. I try my best to do that. Thanks for running that, because I hate doing it. Another thing is we crewed an A2. That was super fun. Probably not the best ship for this, but it was still great. I recommend it. We had one crewed Retaliator come through, and they wiped out everything. Well, except for the hammerhead that we were fighting, all the way into the Idris. I'm trying to see if I can find it in video. I hope I can overlay it here. Light fighters. I'm not sure. This could be a desync thing, but I'm not really seeing a lot of performance out of light fighters. It probably feels a lot better than what it looks like. But I think this is kind of the infantryman problem, where you're putting in a ton of work, but in the grand scheme of things, one bomber comes in and puts in a week work that you would have done, They just level the entire town. And that's what we're seeing with Retaliators coming in and just taking out. Of course, when it comes to light fighters, Gladius is king. I'm not sure if I recommend the Eclipse. I know it's on sale in the store right now. Super fun ship, super great. You can easily take out hammerheads with it, but you'll have a hard time doing that when when I'm around, because we are stripping shields and knocking hull probably as fast as you're resupplying. And by probably, I mean way faster, because we don't have to jump out. I just have to keep slamming them. Then you also have to deal with, you know, missile desync and stuff. I'm seeing missiles miss. I'm going to try to overlay that right now, where I'm firing size 3s, and the guy is flaring, but you can't see the flares, and they're just missing or just going off on their own for some reason. It's not a super stable environment. It is fun when it works, though. Getting it to work is really difficult. Small ships, the Cutter, the Titan. Man, you guys are really putting your life on the line to run boxes, and I respect it. There's got to be better ships, though. But thank you for doing it when you can. But some people are complaining that it's just not fun right now, and I don't agree with them. Even when the system is as down as it is right now, I think people are burnt out. And the really bad part about that is that we have an entire week left on Xenothreat, and the servers are going to get worse in that time. I hope the data that CIG pulls out of this is really worth it, because a lot of people are going to be mad or burnt out completely. And I don't think burnt out people buy ships as much. There's all the leaks, of course, going around with upcoming ships and stuff. We'll have to see what they're like. We don't have too much detail on them, even with the leaks. I don't think ship leaks are really that big of a leak anyways. CIG said they're going to continuously make new ships. I think that's, you know, par for the course of the game. Ships make the game, so have fun with your ship, basically. Yeah, but until the desync problem is dealt with, going to just get worse for Xenothreat. Especially because we've been multi-crewing the entire time. I've only start to finished one Xenothreat as a light fighter when I was in the Gladius. It was super fun. You're putting in work. You're getting splashes left and right, especially against Xenothreat arrows, which just go down instantly against the Gladius. You have to watch out for debris, though, and a bunch of other stuff like that. It's really not that bad until, like I said, desync. And honestly, CIG getting killed by desync is just a really unfair feeling. There's nothing you can do about that, because you're essentially being robbed from gameplay when it's not your fault. But yeah, what are your thoughts? What are the ships you're having fun with on Xenothreat? Are you having fun at Xenothreat? Should they retire Xenothreat? And what do you think about dynamic events as a whole? Because we're going to see the same thing with Siege of Orison when they start running that again. And we've seen Siege of Orison. It's been the same thing for a long time. The desync there is way worse in my opinion. I mean, I can put on the spinning javelin right now. It's funny. Just don't get near it and you're safe. But there is no safety on something like Siege of Orison. And if they bring back Jump Town, how do you think that's going to handle in this? What other sort of dynamic events would you like to see? But that's going to be it for me today. Let me know what you think. Leave a comment, all that kind of stuff like that. And I will see you next time.